Today I want to talk about how we get cool exterior shots flying the Cessna with our GoPros. When I started flying, I was just sticking my smartphone on a suction cup mount, getting somewhat of a neat shot. As we went on, we actually started putting the dash cam from the car in the airplane so that we could record outside shots of our entire flight, so that you can just run the cameras, set it and forget it, and not have to worry about filming while you're trying to fly. And I think that's the ideal setup with any of these cameras, is to just set them and forget them and then capture your footage when you're done. So then I found these camera mounts from MyPilotPro.com. These are super cool. So the design here is that this mount can clamp on to the tie downs of the aircraft. Basically you put it on that ring and then you have your rubber washers. You run your wing nut down until it's just snug, and then you bend over this cam lock, and that's gonna actually provide a really, really tight connection. And the rubber actually squeezes out and gives you a firm grip so that it doesn't rotate around. And then we have this locking pin here to keep it from backing off and falling off the airplane. One concern that did come up, and actually my instructor mentioned this to me, when you're clamped onto the tie down, the wing nut is oftentimes way in here, and this gives it a lot of room to back off. With, it can't come off of the airplane, but it can back off. And so now you can just have this thing flopping around, and it could actually do some damage to the aircraft's wing. I would like to see maybe some incremental holes that you could pin in. And I did have an idea to go ahead and drill myself a pin for where the Cessna's depth is. My only concern with that is it is extremely difficult to drill through bolts like this. I've tried before and had limited success, and he has this one drilled and pinned. I added this ram mount on to give myself a little better flexibility, because this is going to be stuck up at a certain angle, and so it was kind of fixed. And one thing that I found is that the camera couldn't really see around the wing strut very well. Now, if you're facing forward, getting a forward view, that's fine. But I wanted to be able to extend this out and get the camera all the way around the wing strut so that I could see the airplane better, especially for cool shots on landing on backcountry and stuff. So now, most of the time I just loosen this one, and I can really kind of pivot this thing around anywhere I want. I can turn the camera so I can mount it on the left wing or the right wing, and then I can tighten it up. I always thought I need to replace this ram mount nut with a wing nut also, drill it, pin it for extra safety, and I kind of just haven't. I've been flying it like this, and I have never had it come loose. It actually has a really nice friction fit with that washer in there. So when you get these from MyPilot Pro, you're just getting the ball mount portion. That's gonna adapt to any kind of action camera adapter. You can see I'm rolling the old Hero 3. Now this one, I actually broke the lens. We were at a backcountry strip that's really gravelly, and my instructor very specifically told me, hey, I don't think I would put that on the tail. It could get damaged. It could get smashed into the ground on landing or taken off. Sure enough, it caught a rock to the lens and just destroyed the original GoPro case. So I replaced it with this cheap Chinese one, and every time you put it in there, it activates the Wi-Fi. So I use this one that doesn't have the articulating arm on the tail, where I just want it to sit nice and level and square. And I had to put a little spacer hardware in here to get around the tail skid, because otherwise it was wanting to bind up on the tail skid. So I added that extra spacer there. Another thing I do is I go into the GoPro settings and I change it so that the camera is actually recording upside down. That saves me a lot of time in editing, so that I don't have to actually flip the footage manually. And so when I power on the cameras, I can just check which one's already set upside down, and I can put those into the mounts upside down. This one Doesn't just have to go on the tail, but that's really its best place, but I could have both wings covered. The other thing I've tried is putting this on the nose gear. There's a tie down up there on the Cessna, and I've tried putting it up there. That one was a little bit rough though, because the engine leaked oil on the lens, and then the rest of the footage was blurry. Even though it made for a neat shot, being able to see the landing gear on takeoff and touchdown, I haven't used that spot again. I really love these mounts. They really give a secure location for you to put your GoPros on the outside of the airplane. And since we are in a club, we share the airplane, we need to be able to remove it constantly. So this provides quick removal to get it off of the airplane and quick installation before we take off. Now for the inside camera, I 3D printed a GoPro Hero 3 mount. So this slides into the frame like that. And it's actually supposed to have a little tab that retains it, but we broke that off at some point. So I just wrap a rubber band around. And then now we have a suction cup, a 3-point suction cup that I can stick on the windshield glass, and then we can stick this mount on the exterior of the airplane. These suction cups are just not reliable enough. I think it's okay on the inside of the airplane because if it does come undone, I don't have to worry about the camera. I can just let it fall. And I do have it come loose quite a bit on takeoff. One thought I have is the temperature difference on the windscreen. The other one is the pressure difference inside the suction cup. So if it doesn't get suctioned very well, the air can expand and it can release that suction as we're climbing through the altitude. And for that audio, this is the cable I use. And this is actually just an inline adapter for the headset side of your headphone jacks. And it pulls off all audio that you're gonna hear in your ears. It's made to plug into a smartphone. So I got this one from CrazedPilot.com. And there's other ones out there. There's In-Flight Cam, and there's ones that make adapters just for GoPros. And I've thought about that because then I wouldn't have to synchronize the audio, but I really like the flexibility this one provides me to have my phone doing the audio recording. And I'm not committed to one action cam if I was to change later on. Some of you guys out there may be looking at this hardware and saying, well, shoot, I could build that. And yeah, you probably could. And you may be able to find other sources. The companies I use may not be the cheapest, but what I like about them is that they're well-made products. And with aviation, you just want something that's gonna work good and it's gonna last a long time. So this cable's been very durable, hasn't given me any trouble, and I'm really happy with the purchase I made. Same with these mounts. You know, you think, oh, I could just bend some metal, put some hardware together, but really by the time you do all of that, the cost of these mounts is not so significant that it's really worth all the extra effort. And now you have a well-built, tried and true product that you can bolt onto the aircraft and feel confident it's not going to give you any trouble. And these mounts aren't just limited to aviation. I've put them on the ATVs and got some really cool footage, mounted them to the pickup truck and the camper, and also got some really cool footage. So anywhere that you can bolt this onto something, you can get a really cool shot with the GoPro. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the products I use to get these really cool exterior airplane shots and how I capture the audio in the airplane. I highly recommend these camera mounts. You can get them at MyPilotPro.com. You can get the audio cable at CrazedPilot.com. So if you found this review helpful, give me a like and a subscribe, and we'll do some more aviation content in the future.